Quickly, before the episode starts, guys, don't forget to check out our corporate Dirtbags over at, there's a link in the show notes in all of our episodes. You'll be able to find them. Number one is Quartermaster, hashtag by Quartermaster. New version of Quartermaster is out, and it's really great. Much more functionality and the ability to play around with a lot more things and organize your lists a lot better as well. Next up is Black Label Painting. Check out Black Label Painting on Facebook. You'll be able to find a link to, or you'll be able to find Black Label Painting on there. Dave Everett at Black Label Painting is an expert at painting Titans and things like that, night houses and that sort of stuff. Check them out, Black Label Painting on Facebook. We've got Skeleton Games and Terrain. There's a link in the show notes. Check out the YouTube for Skeleton Games and Terrain, doing 3D STL files and models over there. Next up is crystal-fortress.com. Don't forget to get yourself a stylish, Californian designed miniature case that not only protects but also displays and I was going to say promotes your miniatures, but it more like it wingmans your miniatures in people's minds. There you go. Next up is grimdarkterrain.com. Check out grimdarkterrain.com for all of your terrain for Titanicus and Epic and games of that scale. Lots of this stuff wouldn't look out of place for things like Battletech as well. But yeah, grimdarkterrain.com for all of your quarter scale terrain needs. And then last but by no means least, versatileterrain.co.uk for all of your bases and base tags, nameplates for bases. They've got the full range. They've got bases for nameplates that fit on every single base size, and then also a bunch of different variants as well. You can get ring ones, which I've still got to order for my Necromunda gang, so I can swap them around. Necromunda, your characters might evolve throughout a campaign, start off with chainsaw and a bolt pistol, but then, I bought a plasma cannon. I need a new model, and then you can just, if you've got one of these ring bases, it just sits around your base, and then you can just pull it off, switch it over when you're running your heavy weapon. Boom, Bob's your uncle, as they say. So, versatileterrain.co.uk for all your nameplate needs. Alright, let's get on with the show.
Prepare for teleport!
Welcome to Warmonger 14. Tonight we're talking about the Ultramarines. It's Warmonger 15. We've only got 3 legions to go. So those legions are the World Eaters, then the Blood Angels, and then the Iron Hands. So looking forward to those coming up. I think, Iron Hands will be the last one. Perfect. It's almost like I fucking planned for that to happen, so I'd be able to talk about my favorite legion, the last one. But tonight we're going to talk about Ultramarines. Now, I've got someone on the line, a special guest, who approached me and said, I love the Ultramarines. I want to come and talk about Ultramarines. And I was like, yes, please, that'd be awesome. I knew this guy through the Mournival group down in Sydney, through the Mournival boys.
That's right.
However, the best, the reason that I think you're famous in the 30k scene is for doing like those campaign maps that are just like fucking extremely good. The one that was at Act.
Yes, the
4?
first.
Act 4?
4 and 5, the last
4
two.
and 5. Yeah, 4 and 5. I think 4. There was a really big, like, banner-sized one, wasn't there?
Yes, I think the second one is a bit smaller.
Yeah, dude, that huge fucking mega one. I was just like, fuck, so good. I think somebody won that as like a prize, didn't they? Did somebody get that, or have you got that?
No, I think in the number 4 it was Ed who won it.
Oh, Ed Annihilator's got it.
Yeah, I think we started that at a time when Tom did the Istvaan 3 campaign, so I thought, it'd be cool to make a map, to show like the palace and stuff. So it all kind of like how it started.
Yeah.
But I think since then we've kind of given up a little bit on that. It's quite a lot of work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's Paul, also known as Paul EC, maybe on the internet. Very good dude. I don't think we've played. Have we played? I don't think we've played.
I don't think we did. We met a couple of times at ACT, but no, we've never played each other.
Yeah, I would definitely remember playing a game against you with your accent. That'd be.
What is he talking about?
Yeah. I think that'd be fucking good. But I mean, we're gonna record for a couple of hours tonight, so it's basically the same thing. So I get to enjoy your accent. Now I've got to talk to you off the air because I want to bring that back, that like giant mega map back at my event that I'm gonna have in July at my birthday. Here in Brisbane, and I want to bring that back. So I don't know if you've got any spare time between now and July. I should have waited until off air to ask you, but this is just like so much
putting me on the spot.
This is so much more pressure.
Yeah, no, cool. It's sub work, but it's not like definitely that'd be cool. I'd be very excited to do that.
Yeah, because so for a while we've been doing so basically when Titanicus came out, essentially, I was trying to figure out the best way, or at least the easiest way, because it's Australia, mate. Sometimes the best way is the easiest way. Same definition. I've been using like the tiles, like the plastic tiles. Pardon me. So because as soon as you've got more than one system, like you're playing more than one system, you can't just run the bulk campaign points thing, or you need some sort of fucking special rules to determine what these other systems add to the campaign. So the easiest way, I think, and the best way, is like a hex is a territory based system. Now hexes are really good, and I like the idea of hexes. However, sometimes you want to have just like a few sort of just like far flung things geographically. So you got like an intense fight in the middle, but then you have like a few like really more spread out areas, and you can't really do that with the hex tiles, because each hex tile is kind of like, unless you just throw in empty hex tiles to spread things out.
Yeah, you could do that. You could probably superimpose like a tin hex on top of the thing, but make some part more dense, and some like a bit like, there's just a bit of rubble here, or I think that would be.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like the way that yours work is you can just put your little put a fucking marker anywhere, right? And so you basically like take some fucking sweet map, and then I don't know how you do it. Can you explain to the listeners what I'm trying to what the fuck I'm even talking about? Like with the map, like what? Explain just like briefly what you do. And then people know what the hell I'm talking about, and then
of course, yeah. So I think the first one we did that I did was like a visual of Istvaan, like more like the palace, and all the key buildings, and it was kind of like a way to play the campaign and have some visual objectives. That cool. Today we're just gonna attack this, or this the key objective, or the key places to defend. And I think for Act, the brief was more to create. I think Act 4, it was like a hive, and it was like a huge city, and there were several parts of the city. And then for the last one, was requested to several like landing ports, and really specific. So it's basically redrawing a map. I usually took inspiration from the Black Books. I think that I've seen some in there as well. So it's kind of like all that sort of beige, sort of iconography of how they illustrate stuff in the Black Books, which I think that's what really partly drew me into the hobby as well. I feel like especially they made a lot of effort into that, doing these space maps. I did a couple of space maps as well, like kind of like planet clusters. Just basically a bit of graphic design and sort of applying that sort of filter. Filter on top.
Yeah, dude, that's it looks so fucking good. So I want to bring that back, and like that would be like the focal of the whole campaign. Is like I'd have a huge table with that, get that printed in I remember looking at that map at Istvaan, at Act 4, and just being like, oh man, it's so huge. Like you could have all sorts of like tokens and shit all over that, like. extra points for here and here and here, and like have like each area is like set to a specific table, and then you can have Titanicus battles raging out here in this waste and blah blah blah, all that sort of shit. Fuck man. So yeah, that's what I basically want to do, using basically the same system that I've been using for hexes, except on a map, like a custom map, and then get that like printed nice and big, and then basically like players can come up and you can be like, okay, cool, here's the situation, blah 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 blah, this is happening here, this is happening here. So, and then be like, you can do you want to attack the enemy who's moving up here, or do you want to, fucking go and reinforce this spot, or whatever the hell, and sort of just make up like have the narrative unfolding on the map, and then explain that to the players. So, yeah, definitely want to.
Yeah.
So we'll have to
awesome.
talk about that. We'll talk about that offline, but it's going to be like, I've got a couple of options for what the planet will be. And I think it may be like a destroyed hive. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah. So awesome dude in the hobby. Those maps are really inspiring, definitely. And you're also like a Ultramarines fanboy, right?
A very new Ultramarines.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I've started early this year. I thought, oh, cool. I think I just want to do Loyalist Legion, and I feel like I'm always got drawn by to an army by, I guess, the rule of cool. That's how I started my first army. Emperor Children just arrived to Australia, and I had this bunch of pounds in my account. It's still in the UK, and I thought, what am I going to do with that? And I thought, oh, cool, it's just buy like an army from Forge World.
Yeah.
And I saw these purple dudes. I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. And then I started following this Instagram account, Legion Ultramarines, and it really ticked all the boxes of what I thought Ultramarines are, like that kind of like, shields and pillums and these kind of banners that the Romans have. And I thought, oh yeah, I really want to do that. So I kind of decided to, launch myself into a project of doing Ultramarines. And yeah, I've been playing. I think I managed to master now 3,000 points, just over that. Starting with ZM game and starting to get my head around the units and their and how they work. And it's a cool legion. I must say, I really enjoy it.
Yeah. The color scheme's fucking amazing. I'm just trying to log in Instagram. What's your Instagram, just so people can look it up?
Sure. On Instagram, I'm Paul 30k. Paul EC was taken for some reason.
Oh, wow.
So Paul_30k.
Paul_30k. That's pretty good luck, like getting that there. I mean,
I thought, okay, I'll take that.
there must be a few Pauls in 30k.
It would seem so. You'd think that, but yeah, nobody's taken it.
Oh yeah, that blue looks good, dude. That looks fucking sick. I'm just looking at some of your Praetorian breaches there. But yeah, so Paul_30k, small k. You can see what's going on there. Yeah. And what was the name of the other one that you were talking about? That you mentioned was the inspiration? Oh
yes, and I read recently No Fear.
Yeah.
Which I thought from what do you call it? That they're the book series, and I thought it was pretty good. Like the description of the Battle of Calth. I feel like I haven't read many of these books, but I feel like it always takes them about 200 pages to eventually get somewhere.
Yeah.
I thought this one was like straight into the action, like the Wood Bearers are opening fire, and shit. It goes to shit and downhill pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I thought, I quite enjoyed that sense of desperation and these really huge legion trapped and cut off communication and no more planetary defense. I feel like there's a couple of things that kind of drawn me into it. I've been in the hobby 5 years, so I feel like it's a bit of a cyclic. After a while, I think, should I just do another legion? And I think that one really drew my attention.
Yeah. When you read the fluff for them, and you realize that because before there was any fluff, like until they wrote No No Fear and wrote book 5, I think it was. There wasn't that much Ultramarines fluff, but then when you find out about Calth and shit, you're just like, whoa, they had their own like Istvaan. Essentially, they got just like super smashed by the word bearers of all people, just like the worst of the legions.
Yes, yeah.
And then they're just like, no, never give in, and then just fucking just go fucking crazy. It's good shit, man. Like Ultramarines are fucking powerful. They're one of like the super glamour legions as well, right? Like they've been like they were the first, like in 2nd edition, right? They're the only legion that had just a one called Ultramarines. Like there was no, Angels of Death. They put Dark Angels and Blood Angels had to share a book. I guess Space Wolves got their own book. So them and Space Wolves go way back. Probably like the most like expounded upon legions. Well, the Ultramarines fluff is always just like, yeah, they fucking set their shit out in the most boring possible way. So here we go.
Which is surprising, because they list the amount of legionnaire around. Like there's like so many of them, and then they have I guess 500 world as well. Yeah, you think there'd be more story around it. I think because they're a bit beige in a way. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Imagine being a criminal in one of those 500 worlds, and there's probably Space Marines on every world, like at least 1 or 2, right? And you have to just deal with the governor, who's a fucking like a Space Marine, or whoever's in charge of the planet is just probably gonna. I guess they're probably basic humans, right? Like they've got their whole like.
I think they rely a lot on
police force. Yeah.
They rely a lot on Solar Auxiliaries troops. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they've got super veteran troops as well. Yeah. Well, they've got those 500 worlds pretty well locked down, it seems. But yeah, so yeah, Ultramarines, fucking sweet legion. One of the they're the biggest legion, right? They always say this. Like everyone always says, Ultramarines biggest legion. I guess after Calth they weren't the biggest legion anymore, but
they lost 50% or something like that in Calth, or.
But
yes, initially they were like a huge amount of legionnaires.
Yeah. Like the very first thing it says in the Liber Astartes for Ultramarines is the 13th Legion was perhaps the largest legion at the conclusion of the Great Crusade. So it was like over 200,000 guys, right? Before they got like just rained until their bodies like rained down on Calth. But yeah, so I don't know. This isn't really like this isn't a kind of show where we delve into the fluff. All we know is they got fucking smashed, and then they regrouped, and then they just like hung out there because the Ruin Storm just like and being smashed, they just like hung out, and then at some point we know that they start heading towards Terra, but they don't like fucking. They're not like, oh shit, like quick, get our shit together immediately and head for Terra. They just like they just go back to McCrack and hang out there, right? Like just sit around.
Because they have to. It takes them years, it says, to clean up Calth, and there's all these tunnel wars, and this keeps scores of wood bearers that are stuck in some of these subterranes. So yeah, they need to do a bit of a clean-up job before they actually can. But I haven't read any of that, so I don't quite know when do they actually make it to Terra afterwards. But yeah, clearly, and I think another thing as well that I think is interesting is that kind of like rigid chain of command. I think once more they really sort of associate that to sort of like the Roman army structure, and they in a way through Calth they have to really sort of like think for themselves, and sort of take decisions. Take decisions on the ground and sort of break these ideas of chain of commands. I think that's why their only character is what's this guy? Remus Ventanus, like really sort of take matters in his own hand and start regrouping all these Mechanicum and Fourth Company guys and really fight back.
Yeah. Yeah. No, interesting, and I think the story is still just like unfolding for them as well. Like, I've heard that they're starting to. There's like Ultramarines showing up at Terra in the Siege of Terra books. Like, not that far into it.
Okay.
But not the entire Legion. Just like, like early Pathfinder units or whatever. Just like bringing news or whatever. So yeah, and the Dark Angels as well apparently. So yeah, interesting. And they've got a way bigger role in the Heresy now. If people haven't read through like the Black Book, 5, Tempest, I'm pretty sure it is. Is
Yes.
it Tempest? Yep. If you haven't read through that, you're doing yourself a disservice because it basically is just like the best explanation of the Ultramarines, and also has some sick fucking exemplary battles, including against the Siren Cybrids, which is like one of the the best exemplary battles, along with along with the White Scars one, where them and the Sons of Horus and the Death Guard have to fight against like a whole enslaver, like level 5 enslaver infestation. That's another fucking really good one. Obviously, like the Death Guard one with the Fourth Horseman, another fucking extremely A+ one. But yeah, the Ultramarines battle against these Siren Cybrids is fucking amazing. It's like this race of like beings of smoke or some shit inside glass bodies, and they're like this super psychic fucking race, and they have these giant like hourglass shaped ships that are mostly just storage, but like they're just like they can use them to mentally control like other races and shit, like in through space, so they can just control these like huge like slave fleets essentially. And they just kick the shit out of the Ultramarines, and Robert Gilliman's just like, oh, I'll never fucking forget them. And then he just waits for them, like just constantly reading fucking newspapers, just waiting for the Siren Cybrids to appear again. And when they finally do, he turns up, the whole fleet turns up, and they're fighting against an Orc fleet. And the Ultramarines are just like, let's just fucking attack. And when they attack, the Orcs are like, yeah, fucking good work. And then the Ultramarines, like, these ships can shoot like just like waves of gravity and force and shit through space, like, and psychic force and shit, and just smash your ships. So they're just like, fuck, we can't fight them from range, we have to just board them. So they just drill their entire fleet into just boarding these ships, and then like Robo Gilliman has to go, like, face down these like psychic devils and like punch the shit out of them with his fist or whatever. Before they start to just like, holy shit, let's fucking disengage, the Ultramarines mean business. So yeah, it's one of the best things. Like, I really want to make like a Siren Cybrid ship and rules for Battlefleet Gothic, just entirely based upon that exemplary battle. So yeah, Ultramarines fucking shit hot. Always like training. They were always training for war against these like foes, like anything that eludes them or like beats them somehow, and doesn't kill them. Or sort of hard to find, hard to track down enemies during the Crusade, so we became really good at tracking them down, just like this Cybrids. So I guess that like exemplary battle illustrates some of their fucking tactical shit. So always like training for all these like different scenarios, and that kind of comes across on the table, I guess, in some ways.
I think one thing which is really awesome. So we get like a ZM group, like where we play regularly. This might like a local group in the city, and the Tempest book also. I feel like all these black books get like all these really great campaign system, so you can play 5, 10, 15 mission. And I think with all these supplements, the PDF supplements as well, there's heaps of unique mission that relate to the Battle of Calth. So last year with the local group, we'd be like, playing this ongoing campaign around Calth, but you can go from Titanicus back to Zone Mortalis, back to 3,000 points. And it kind of evolved, and the situation get worse, and there's all these cataclysmic events as well that gets added to the campaign, which is also really, really cool. I feel like if anybody can still get hold of these black books, it's like amazing illustration, as you said, like awesome background stories, but equally like playable campaign, which I feel like it's needed like an untapped resources of really cool stuff. And I quite enjoy going back to them again. So, still going back to, although the rules are, not out of date, but at least the fluff is, and running a campaign is certainly something you can still use these books for.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, book 4, book 6 have a lot of good campaign stuff. Book 4 has like the what is it called? Like the strategic raid missions in there as well. That are cool, just for like extra missions and things like that. And some different forsorgs. Some of that stuff you could probably just fucking use. I mean, obviously it hasn't been play tested, but you could be your own playtester and just give them a go. Like you can read them and guess sort of how it's going to go. You just need to bear in mind that those missions were written where half the shit in the game was scoring, and now there's like not that much stuff that's scoring.
No.
So that's all you need to remember, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Just adjust for that. Allow everything to be scoring or whatever. Okay, cool. Well, let's get into the rules for the Ultramarines. I think like these guys, they got some just simple. I think the actual Legion rules that they got was pretty simple, but their special units, like fucking amazing. Like all of them are really good, I think. And then there's a whole fucking shit ton of them as well, because I think there's 2 in the book, 3 in Legacies, and 1 in Exemplary Battles, which is an extraordinary number of units.
Yes.
For 1 Legion. And then the special reaction and the rights are just kind of like, I guess. Not like super fucking crazy, I don't think. But yeah, I think it's like where these guys, and this is my just like early analysis, and we're gonna read through we're gonna go through the rules. I think like the best value Ultramarines are gonna get is from those special units. What do you think? The same or?
Yeah, if you read on first pass, when you read it, like everything seems to be angle with shooting, because the strength of wisdom, it kind of allows, so it improves your rolls to hit. You feel like it's a shooty legion, and their overall legion stats rules sort of allude to, it's a really good shooting unit, but they have really extremely solid close combat units as well. So I feel like they're really quite versatile. They cover a lot of angles, which is what I like as well.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, let's go through them. So number 1, as Paul said, is Strength of Wisdom. So this is basically +1 to hit if you're shooting at something that a friendly unit within 6 inches of you has already shot at.
Yes.
So as long as you keep 2 units within 6 inches of each other, if one shoots, then the other one, and whether they hit or not, doesn't matter. But it means that the second unit will re-roll. Get +1 to hit.
That's right.
Pretty amazing. If you think about like a Dreadnought, it's already hitting on BS5s, it's already hitting on 2s. So, you can't get a bonus out of it anyway. Fire with it first. Boom. And then fucking your unit gets is basic unit of like 20 TAC Marines or whatever is now hitting on 2s as well.
If you're shooting with a unit which has got BS5 as a first shot, they will hit on 2s anyways. And then if very close to them, you have like a large squad of troops, or and then they also will hit on 2s. It's really good. I feel like the close range that they need to be at, I think you really need to think. I believe in the previous version it was a blanket rule, but I could get this wrong as well. Now the fact that you need to really 6 inches, it's not that much really. So the shooting unit needs to be quite, I guess, working together and be close together on the table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, when it comes to night fighting is obviously neg 1 to hit. Suddenly your units, you can have a unit back to hitting on 2s if they were only hitting on 3s before. And you don't want to be hitting on 4s as well, so hitting on 3s much better. Just like almost ignores the ballistic seal penalty for night fighting.
Totally.
So there's a few things to factor in there, I think. But
night fighting is horrible in this edition, really.
yeah. You don't want to be caught with your pants down, essentially. Yeah. Dude, like after I played, like I don't need night fighting. I don't need no night fighting. If it happen, I'd prefer for it not to happen. However, some people do want to play it, and those people are Night Lords players, and that's basically all. But I don't like after having my just being basically like, oh shit, I just have to sit here and you just fucking tee off on my shit. This sucks. I only let that happen once before I started putting in some night fighting shit. So now some night fighting people try to like do a Buffalo Bill on me. I'm just like, nah, look at all my night fighting shit, motherfucker. Wop, wop, wop. Yeah, and I can just fire into the darkness.
I've had a similar experience with Tom, and he's a Night Lord. He all his list was on jet bikes, and basically he was shooting me from the other side of the table, and basically I had nothing to shoot at. So it's pretty, it was a interesting game and really enlightening on like how strong night fighting can be.
Yeah, it's fucking it's horrendous, man. And then the Night Lords are also getting those bonuses at night as well, right? Like they get +1 initiative or something. Is it when it's at night, or +1 movement or something? So like we haven't done Night Lords. We just did Night Lords last week. So go and check out the rules there. But fucking ugh.
That summarizes it quite well.
Yeah, do not want. But I can actually see an Ultramarines army where you equipped a lot of stuff with night fighting, because you're getting those bonuses to hit as well as you can put cognoscignums in units to give them +1 ballistic skill, and then get +1 to hit on top of that. Yeah, interesting. You could, like the Night Lords, they are one of those like shooting armies. Like we went through the Night Lords rules, and their rules, when they outnumber, they have a bonus to wound with shooting, which is fucking crazy. Makes them extremely good as a shooting army. And I think like Ultramarines, you could probably equip enough guys to just like actually not give a shit about night fighting and actually force it on non-Night Lords players as well, and then just shoot the fuck out of them, and they wouldn't be able to retaliate, at least for the first turn.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit hard to, who your opponent might be and what his list is going to be as well. But
doesn't matter if they're a drop pedestal army just smashing down. It doesn't really matter then, although it can fuck up your leadership if they're assaulting you, so it could be bad. Okay, so that is the Ultramarine special rule. +1 to hit. Basically, like you're just like what's it called? Like laser pointing for other units. So you just need to consider the best way to do that. I think the best way is to have like a ballistic skill 5+ unit. A ballistic skill 5 unit that's hitting on 2+, near a unit that's hitting on 3+, and then use it so that you're getting the bonus on that unit. Obviously, you're not always going to be able to do it, but it is something you need to remember in the movement phase. If you wait until the shooting phase and then start measuring, you fucked it. All right, you've fucked it already. If you need to remember in the movement phase, I need to keep these units within 6 inches. I need, when you're taking casualties, make sure you don't take casualties so that you're suddenly more than 6 inches away, because you're losing that +1 to hit, which is extremely strong. You want to get the most out of that, essentially.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of that. There's a lot of pre-planning. You got to make sure you it's like, in a way, chess playing. Like you got to think about a couple of moves ahead. Because their Rite of War is all about that as well, and what Rabute Gilliman offers as well is prenatural strategies. We have to think about, okay, this is going to play my turn, and this is going to play in my favor. Yes, but it's good. I mean, it comes up a lot when I play. I always get the benefit.
Yeah. Well, think about like as well. It's probably one of the best rules. If you want to do a armored spearhead army, right, with a ton of tanks, it's probably the best legion for that, right? Like you don't get it on blast or barrage. However, if you've got lascannon predators, squadron of 3 lascannon predators, and you have them within 6 inches of another unit that shoots at something first, and they're all getting +1 to hit on all their las cannons and autocannons and shit like that. So, it's
Would your vehicle get the
yeah,
Legion Astartes Ultramarines?
yep,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
All vehicles have it. Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, yeah. In that case, it's game.
Yeah.
It's game on. I thought.
Well, think about it. Imperial Fist only get it on bolt weapons, and I mean, you're going to have vehicles that aren't going to be able to do it because it can only be half of your shit essentially. But
Yeah, no, it's really good. And then you can also couple several units. It could happen a couple of times in one round of shooting.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, you could have just like like sniper units with Nemesis rifles, just a few squads of 5 of them just sprinkled around near where your vehicle car park is sitting, and then as long as they've just like shot off some like rending shots or whatever, then the tanks just go, okay, cool, thanks for pointing out where the enemy was, and then just fucking open up on them.
yes.
And then you can have multiple units either side of those sniper guys getting those bonuses as well. Like, yeah, it's interesting. It's one of those things you've got to remember in the movement phase. Obviously, you got to remember in the shooting phase, but you got to remember in the movement phase and like start your turn with the intention of making sure that you're keeping you guys in order, and then getting the most out of it. So, okay, so let's jump across to Warlord traits. Now they've got 3 Warlord traits, one of which I think is just like, what the hell? Like, why bother? But let's go through them. So, the first one is Burden of Kings. Now, this one is in any phase in which 1 or more wounds has been allocated to a Warlord with this trait, whether saved or unsaved. The Warlord gains It Will Not Die 4+, and the Fearless rule until the end of the Warlord's controlling player's next turn. So It Will Not Die, a good chance of just like putting some wounds back on a 4+. If there's a Primus Medicae in the unit, remember you get to re-roll It Will Not Die in the unit. So tooling this with a Primus Medicae, giving you 4+, It Will Not Die for at least 1 turn, pretty good. Fearless is also a good rule, very not super fucking. It is relatively rare. Even chaplains don't give Fearless anymore. They only give you Stubborn 10. And you can. In addition, an army whose warlord has this trait may, once in each of the opposing player's turns, make a single reaction without spending a point of the controlling player's reaction allotment, as long as the reaction is made by the warlord or unit the warlord has joined. So you can make like up to 3 extra reactions, not using points, with your general's unit. So that's fucking amazing. Have you used this one?
I have never used this one.
You've never used this one? Wow. Okay.
No, I've mainly used Aegis of Wisdom.
That's the one I think is crap. Okay, let's do Aegis of Wisdom, and then we can compare these other 2, because the third one is fucking traitor only. So unless you're a disgusting traitor dog, how many? Well, I've played against 1 traitor Ultramarines army actually, but okay. So Aegis of Wisdom is any friendly unit made up entirely of models with Legion Astartes Ultramarine special rule that can draw a line of sight to a warlord with this warlord trait. When called upon to regroup, use the warlord's leadership characteristic. So anything that can draw line of sight to your Praetor, for example, would regroup on with leadership 10. And if successful, the unit may make shooting attacks and declare charges as normal, ignoring the normal restrictions. So that's very good. Usually you just have to fucking stand there and snapshot, count assault. So that is pretty good. But when it happens. In addition, an army whose warlord has this trait may make an additional reaction in the opposing player's shooting phase, as long as the warlord's alive. So, I don't know, that one doesn't seem as good as the first one. Is it good? Like, why is it so good? Why do you only run it?
I think it's the easiest to run. It's probably the easiest to play, making sure your warlord is at the back, in full visibility of the rest of your units, and then you get the benefit of his leadership. I think, but I guess I never really thought about using the other one, Burden of King, in a quick decision, Aegis of Wisdom thought, cool, everybody's going to get my Warlord leadership.
Yeah, but it's only for regroups there, right? Yeah, it's only regroups. So your unit has to be running away. Unit has to break, and then the next turn you get to try and rally it, and then you can do it at 10. I guess it's pretty good if you've got like tons of units on the field as well.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And you're only running away 1d6 because you've got standards as well. It sort of plays into that. That's pretty good. It is a little minor buff. It's just that burden of kings, just getting an extra, like 3 essentially extra free reactions, is out of control. Like, and then if you do take a wound but not die, then it will not die 4+.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Regenerating a wound on your warlord.
Yeah, it's fucking It just seems so crazy, like those next to each other. Obviously, like, it all depends on your army building. So, I mean, warlord traits really went from being basically like, oh yeah, don't forget to roll your warlord trait right before the game starts, and then you usually forget until turn 2 or something. It went from being that to like you build your army like based around these things. So it's interesting.
I've never really built my army around that. I feel like they're on a strength. Then I think it's an added value. It's not like a do or die type of thing.
Extra shooting attack reaction's pretty good there. Okay, and then we'll do the Pride's Dark Tower. So this is the trader one only. Trader only one. Once per battle, at the start of any one phase in either player's turn, your warlord can choose to use his leadership characteristic in place of his toughness when resolving any to wound rolls made against it until the end of that phase. Thus, a warlord with leadership 10 can choose to activate this trait at the start of the enemy player's shooting phase. It would treat his toughness as if it were 10 until the end of that phase. So that's kind of cool if you're like just on your own standing there and you've got you can charge in and probably smash the enemy, but you've got to, you're going to get just like, you're going to just be standing there just getting shelled like on your own because your Death Star's all dead or whatever. Then you can just go out on top of it. Yeah.
It's your last move when you're your warlord is the last guy on the table, I guess.
Then just go, I'm toughness 10. Because if you are toughness 10, it makes you extremely hard to kill. There's a few things which can still wound you on 2, which is anything strength 12 or more, such as conversion beamer at long range or a demolisher cannon, I believe is strength 12. But it's still only AP 3. You got 2+ save. Brutal 3 though. You got to take 3 saves.
Yes.
That can wound you, but I mean, even that's only just wounding you on 2s. It can't instant kill you. You're looking for stuff that has murderous strike 6+ basically, or any kind of murderous strike. But
this one feels really circumstantial as well.
If you've got some, like, say you probably play against your brother-in-law who always runs a fucking Paragon blade, or or he always runs like some high strength, like maybe he plays Night Lords and he's got that axe that's strength 8, and he's always just like wailing into your general, like just boom, I'm toughness 10. Now you're only winning me on 6s. You really need to watch out for Paragon blades though, because they'll still be able to kill you despite you being toughness 10.
Yeah,
because you don't get any.
It's once per battle.
Yeah, and it's once per battle. That's right. It's one phase per battle too. So it might be the close combat phase or the shooting phase. It's one phase. So I don't know. It does seem cool to me. Like, say you come up against a Primarch and just suddenly go, I'm tough 10. Maybe I can tank you for a turn. Tough 10 with a 4+ invulnerable save. Pretty decent. But it's traders only. It's trader Ultramarines only. So
which is very rare, I would say.
Yeah. Although I have played against one trader Ultramarines player, Cam from up here, Cam's Hams, and he has he had the little allied Sons of Horus unit with, and then they have the special console who has a magic rod that can give you boost your leadership and shit like that. And then then he was using like a command unit, a comms guy, master of signals to blast out like leadership 10 to like his whole army. So yeah, some good shit there. But yeah, so Burden of Kings, Aegis of Wisdom. Have a look at those two. Decide which one you like more. I feel like Burden of Kings is extremely good for like a lot of the armies that I've seen with Ultramarines. They have like a big unit of suzerains with a character with them, or they're some kind of like elite Terminator unit or whatever, command squad or whatever, with a Praetor who's just total fucking skull taker. So I feel like Burden of Kings is extremely good for that kind of play. But yeah, Aegis Wisdom. There's also the a lot of Ultramarines players play like full, here's just my bulk troops. They're all getting buffed from all these special rules. I'll just like sit here and just like slug it out with you. So Aegis of Wisdom's probably better there.
Yeah, but no, you're right. Burden of Kings seems the better option, I guess.
If you want to go and just like smash it into the enemy, I think with like with the Death Star or like a drop assault army or something like that. Okay, cool. So let's go to we jump past we'll go to extra equipment. So Ultramarines get 3 special extra equipment things. One of them's a Legatine Axe. So in the last edition, as we all know, Legatine Axe was a axe that went at initiative and was AP2 and was like a revelation when that came out, when we read the rules for suzerains and we were like, oh my gee, they're just like weapon skill 5, they're just like charge in, add initiative, they can just totally fuck up like a Terminator squad with slow, cumbersome fucking power fists. These guys are like going to be a real game changer. They were to some extent a game changer, although people realize that they only have a 6+ invulnerable from shooting, and then once you realize that, you'd just be like, to shoot them with plasma. But this axe was like a total revelation when it came out in first edition. Now, it is range, obviously close combat weapon. Strength is user AP2 melee. Boom.
Yeah, still pretty good, really.
Very good.
So I've been running. It's still pretty good, really. If you're, I put a lot in my in my suzerain squad, and it just mins through, a lot.
Yeah.
I guess the benefit is, but yeah, no, pretty good. I feel like they're probably not as good as it was, but so far it hasn't let me down. And it's super cheap as well, like 5 points per model. So it's relatively cheap as well.
Any independent character can have one for 5 points, and then they're also on some units as well.
Yeah. Then AP2, I feel like a lot more close combat weapon is AP3 now, so there's very few, I think, there's fuck
all AP initiative except for like Paragon Blades. And basically everything the Custodes have, I guess, which seems to be AP2 now.
Yeah, all their weapons,
yeah. Okay, next thing is the Argyram pattern boarding shield. So this is a special boarding shield which gives you 5+ invuln against shooting attacks. So normal one gives you 5+ against shooting attacks in close combat. This one gives you a 5+ against shooting attacks and 4+ against close combat attacks. So extremely fucking good. There's a whole bunch of wording about how it doesn't stack with anything else, whatever. And you can't use the 2-handed special rule because one of your hands is holding the fucking shield. So yeah, extremely good. I think independent characters that don't have the unique subtype can take one for 15 points, so it's pretty good. Obviously you don't need to worry about your Praetor's got Iron Halo, which is better, but like any of your consoles only have a refractor field, so this is better than a refractor field. It just stops you from using 2-handed weapons. You can still have a Paragon Blade or whatever in your other hand, or a Power Fist or what have you, and get a 4+ invuln in close combat, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and it really, all these units really sort of get you to look for close combat, because that's what it really comes to itself when it's in a melee attack. 4+ save. It's so good.
Yeah, it's worth noting though, like it's only both this axe and this shield, and we're going to talk about the Mantle of Ultramar, which is Praetor only in a minute. But both this axe and this shield, they're only independent characters, so you can't just put them on everyone like you can with Death Guard, for example, where just any character can have one of these sides. Not everyone can just have one of these axes, unfortunately. I guess they'd become like an axe legion if every sergeant was allowed to take them, because why wouldn't you, right? Like, you might as well. I guess it'd just become like too axey as a legion. But yeah, it's not a... They don't have an equipment list like, say, the Blood Angels or the Imperial Fists, right? Where it just like gives you miniguns and special power fists and all this other shit that everyone can take. It's really like minimal amount of interference in your list. It's just sort of like boosts to your 3 character choices, essentially.
But then some of your special unit get access to them.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's it counterbalance that, I guess.
Yeah. And then Mantles of Ultramar. So 1 Praetor in the detachment can exchange their Artificer armor for the Mantles of Ultramar for 25 points. And it gives you 2+ armor save, battle hardened 1, which is very, very, very good. And you're not affected by the blind special rule. However, if any unit the model has joined is affected by blind as normal.
So just him, the Praetor would be ignoring
okay,
blind.
Weird. I guess you still get to roll off his initiative, but if you fail, he's just not blinded, just the unit is. Okay, that's pretty cool, I guess. Yeah. I've been running a little bit of blind. It's not like doesn't always go off. And against Space Marines, you have to roll a 5/6 to fail a blind check. So it's not like an assured thing, but you only have to hit with a blind weapon to force it, so you can have like a bunch. But yeah, so 25 points for a second. I think it's totally worth it just because of Battle Hardened. Battle Hardened 1 is what Deliverers have, and also the Death Shroud that we talked about a few episodes back with Danny. And though that is extremely like a very good rule, I believe, because it's just like takes all the it allows you to roll Feel No Pain against Strength 8 and above. And it also takes instant death out of Strength 8 and 9. You have to be Strength 10 to force an instant death, which means you're not only just like losing all your wounds if you fail invulnerable save, but you're also not getting Feel No Pain if you have the instant death. So it's like a double buff, I think is what we were talking about it as being. So yeah, it's only on that model. But
yes, and only on a Praetor as well. I guess it's, I don't know about you, but I don't systematically run a Praetor. I try to shave off some points and using a Delegatus. So annoyingly, you can't put that on a Delegatus.
You can make an ass-kicking fucking Praetor there for Ultramarines, like with that,
totally. Yeah, yes, yeah.
The AP2 axe, like it's fucking crazy. But yeah, yeah, okay, all right. Well, yeah, it's fucking crazy. I think it's worth it. If you're taking it, like Paul's saying, if you take a Praetor, you might not want to take a Praetor. There's other ways to get decent leadership blasted across your whole army with Ultramarines by taking like combos of different things. But yeah, if you are taking a Praetor though, definitely look into taking this. If you can survive, like if you're gonna have 3. You can swap your Artificer, so you're only gonna have 3 wounds, but that means you can survive like a hit from a Thunderhammer, and even if it wounds does Brutal 2 and you fail both saves, you won't die. You'll still have 1 wound left. Just think about how fucking powerful that is.
It is
and then you've got an invulnerable save on top of that, and then if you're running that Rite of War, that allows you to like immediately become fearless for the rest of the turn. So even if you lose a combat, you're not going to run away, and you also like get a wound back on a 4+. At the end of the turn. Pretty good. Okay, so we're going to jump over to units, and this is where things get crazy. The first up is the Invactara Suzerain squad. So these guys are really great. They're some of the nicest models that have been made as well, like the shields and axemen on the table. Like there's a lot of people like pro painters have done some really good Ultramarine stuff over the years as well. I was just thinking about Matt Kane has it like insane Ultramarines army. I'm not sure if he has it anymore. I think he went to Custodes, but insane Ultramarines army, for example. So Suzerains, 175 points for 5. And they have veteran stats, so weapon skill 5, the 2 wounds. They're also 3 attack space, which is pretty fucking crazy.
Yes.
They are all, they're leadership 9. There's no character in the unit, because I guess they're all basically like they're all almost like Centurion level stats. They've got 3 attacks. They've got the weapon skill 5. The only thing they don't have, I guess, is the BS 5. Otherwise, they are essentially like the same stats as a Centurion. They come with Artificer armor, Legatine axe, that shield that gives you the 4+ invuln in close combat, bolt pistol, frag, and crack. They've got some special rules, the honor bearers and lords of Ultramar. So the honor bearers let you take them as a retinue squad, and the lords of Ultramar rule any friendly units within 6 inches of them gain +1 to the leadership characteristic to a maximum of 9 while they're within 6 inches of a unit, as long as they're not pinned or falling back.
Yeah, so they buff that the leadership of somebody you might be close. I think once more that 6 inches bubble.
Yeah,
yes.
it's not bad. It's not like,
and also their line. So infantry, so they're heavy, so they're going to be a bit slow.
Yep, no running.
Yes, they can hold objectives. Yes.
Yeah, line, heavy, and character. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
No, very good. Yeah, they're such a solid unit. I have a unit of 10, and I put like mainly Legatine axe, and then you can give Thunder Hammers as well for 10 points. So you can have 3 or 4 Thunder Hammers. They basically go through anything really. They're so resilient with the shield.
Any of them can take a Thunder Hammer for 10 points. What the hell?
Yes,
that's
you
crazy.
Could potentially. There's never any need to have that many, but I have like 3 or 4, and you can give also a plasma pistol.
Plasma pistol for 10 points. Probably a bit expensive, but and then the base suzerain's only 30 points each too. Like, and they come with that fucking initiative AP2 axe. Like, yeah, that's a really fucking out of control good unit. Like, you're talking about what 300 points roughly. Yeah, 325 points, and for a really good unit, like a full unit.
Yeah, they do not disappoint. I run them with a what am I saying?
Apothecary?
No, the guy who allows you to re-roll the hit.
Chaplain. Yeah, Chaplain. Yeah.
Rotes. Yeah. So you got a lot of attack on the charge. You get to re-roll as well. Like
give them stubborn and leadership 10 as well. Pretty good. But yeah, hatred, giving them hatred, they're already, and their weapon skill 5 already, like, and then 3 attacks each. That's so fucking crazy. That's like, I would not even want to charge them because of those Thunder Hammers. Those the 15 Thunder Hammer attacks if you charge them or whatever. Like, that's insane.
And as you said, the models are beautiful. They're really that kind of like really older Forge World model. Yeah, really, really cool. A lot of work, a lot of sort of heraldry and things to paint, but very cool.
Yeah. I would definitely I'd be putting a apothecary in this unit just to give them that like little bit more insurance, like because they do have like 2 wounds each. They can they're kind of survivable. If you've got if you can give them.
I feel like I've had the most of them if they can re-roll all these hits, so basically nothing really survives. Yeah. You're kind of like banking that you're going to destroy whoever you're going to charge on turn 1. And then that shield as well is really keeping you alive.
Try and survive. Yeah, you're gonna have to survive like a round of shooting basically at some point.
True.
But yeah, you can put them in a Proteus, which is kind of cool. Drive them across the table as dedicated transport. That's kind of fun. And then there's still 2 slots in a Proteus if you put a full unit of 10. You can give them a banner Legion standard for 15 points. I don't know that you would you bother with that if you've got a chaplain in there anyway, they're gonna be leadership 10. Banner's not gonna do much, really, is it? It's gonna give you...
I have one painted because it looks cool, but it's
because they're already lined. Yeah, they're already lined in built, so it doesn't. Banner doesn't help them much. Interesting. Though, interesting. I haven't played against them, but I've watched them just fucking cut the shit out of things, and then people just going like, "Oh my god!" Like, I have to shoot the fuck out of them to destroy them. Weapon skill 5. Add initiative with 3 attacks placed with it. So on the charge, 4 attacks with that axe. And
leadership 9. So they're super resilient. Like really, very good unit.
Yeah. All right. Next up, so in the book they only had 2 units, which is the Suzerains, and then this unit here called the Praetorian Breacher Squad. In the old book, Praetorian Breacher Squad was essentially just like a rule under their Legion rules, which said you can give any Breacher Squads can have power swords for 5 points each, like any dude in a Breacher Squad. In Ultramarines. Now it's a separate entry thing. So Praetorian Breacher Squad is essentially a veteran stat line, except only 1 attack instead of 2. So weapon skill 5, 2 wounds, but only 1 attack instead of 2. 8 and 8 for leadership. So it's kind of like an interesting sort of hybrid stat line there. They come with a power sword, bolt pistol, boarding shield, crack, frag, and power armor. They're heavy and line, so just like breaches essentially, except weapon skill 5 breaches with power swords. You can have up to 5 additional for 22 points each. And then, just like Nuncio Vox, blah, 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 blah. 1 in 5 models can take a Legatine Axe. And the Primus can take a Fist, Legatine Axe, Artificer Armor. So it's kind of like it's like a up to 10 man. Oh, they've all got the Chosen Warriors and the Hammer of Wrath special rule as well. Hammer of Wrath 1, which is kind of interesting. Chosen Warriors is kind of an interesting choice as well. But yeah, it's essentially like a 10-man power sword breacher team, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, they're of course not as good as Suzerain, but I think it's definitely like a good sidekick, like a poor cousin of the Suzerain, but they still hold to themselves. I think it's a really great Zone Mortalis type of unit.
Yeah, I'll tell you where I think their niche is, because they can also take a Proteus Land Raider. The niche is that they are an elite's choice that has the line rule. So there's almost fucking nothing. Like, you've got tax, you've got breaches, assault squads, and despoilers that are line. And then basically nothing else is line in the Space Marine list. However, if you're playing Ultramarines, you can take these as elites choices, and they're more line. So if you want to go for like maximum line, or if you're just taking minimum troops choice but still want to take more line and take a veteran unit, they can actually take a Land Raider as a dedicated. This would be like the niche for that, because it's just another scoring unit that's going to be pretty decent.
Yeah, no, they're pretty strong. Unfortunately, they don't have the Angrium boarding shield, but still a boarding shield. That would have been my preference, but no, pretty good. I've used them some the other day against Sean, and they're a solid unit. They're +2 wounds as well.
Yeah,
plus
wounds as well. Yeah, that's cool.
It's a good modeling opportunity. Again, so I really feel like that sort of aesthetic of shields and the Vaxilla is really kind of like adds to that Roman feel to them as well.
Yeah, be cool if they could take power spears. Hey, imagine if they could take power spears.
Oh yes. Well, I guess you could sort of model power spears and say it's a power sword.
Yeah, say a power sword, I guess. All right, so that's the Praetorian Breacher Squad. So both of those units very good. The Invictaris Suzerains, though, they're only 40 points more than the Breacher Squad for the first 5 guys, and the Suzerains are so much better, out of control good. So yeah, have a think about those. Just depends which one you want to run. Yeah, I think if you're the person who just wants to make a shit hot Praetor guy that's just going to go and stab the shit out of other characters and fight duels and stuff, and be hard to kill because you've got that fucking battle hardened and whatever, then you're probably going to want some suzerains to go with them, and then just have them in a Land Raider or a drop pod or whatever. Figure out a way to deploy them via Storm Eagle or something like that. Then the suzerains are the go. If you want to be more tactical, though, I think these Praetorian Breacher squads might be the way to go, because just getting the maximum amount of line out on it's worth noting, though, they're not going to make much use of the Ultramarine special rule because they've only got bolt pistols.
No, it really, I think that's why I said I feel like this, the stat lines and the rules really sort of like buff your shooting unit, but then on top of that you get these really specific specialized close combat unit.
Yeah, very interesting. I think like as like a because the problem with giving advice on the Space Marine shit is that there's like 90 Space Marine units or something like that. There's so much shit, so people's armies can be so varied. It's hard to give like good honest advice on what they should do. Okay, let's jump over to, and we're going to talk the legacies of the Age of Darkness, because I think I got like 3 units in here. We've got Fulmentaris, Locutaris. Oh no, just Fulmentaris and Locutaris. So there's also a bunch of like special characters like Honored Telemachus, who's just like one of the best things in the game, just like a fucking 240 point weapon skill 6 fucking dreadnought with hatred everything, which is kind of cool. But Fulmentaris, so Fulmentaris Terminator Squad, these guys were in book 4, in book 5, and were just aren't in the main rules anymore. Same with the Locutaris Storm Squad. Great that they got rules. Like a Terminator Squad that just was like, oh yeah, cool, remember how Siege Tyrants are cool? Yeah, what if we did that ourselves and we just did it better for some reason? Like just like fucking extra technology that the Iron Warriors didn't tell us about and stuff like that. So the Fulmentaris Terminator Squad is 290 points for 5 guys, and then you can buy up to 5 more for 55 points each. They're a Cataphractii Terminator, except BS5. It's still only Leadership 7-8, which is interesting. If you lose your sergeant, which has happened to me a few times, your squad's only fucking Leadership 7, so even though it's 10 Terminators, they're just like, let's just run away. They've got Inexorable Firing Protocols too, which is good because their equipment is Cataphractii Armor, a Peritac Targeter, which we'll talk about in a second, a Combi Bolter, a Power Weapon, and a Fulmentaris Missile Array, it used to be just a Cyclone Missile Launcher. Now it's a Fulmentaris Missile Array with Splinter and Hellfire Plasma Missiles. So what the hell is a Hellfire Plasma Missile? Glad you asked.
It's everybody's nightmare.
Everyone's nightmare. Range 24, Strength 8, AP 2. Remember, this is on a BS5 Terminator. Heavy 1, Brutal 2. So you're getting 10 shots hitting on 2s against a Dreadnought, for example, wounding on 3s. And for every one that wounds, it doubles out. So let's say 5 wound. That's 10 5+ saves that Dreadnought now has to make. And for every one it fails, every 5+ it fails, it takes a wound. Like, you almost guaranteed to just rock a Dreadnought of any type.
Overwatch, Intercept a Leviathan with them, and I only had 6. Well, I had 6 of them, and killed the Leviathan outright.
Yeah. So crazy. It's also got the Splinter Missile, so you can fire it just basic troop shit, which is range 36, strength 5, AP 5, heavy 4, breaching 6+, pinning, which is actually fucking pretty good. Just insane way to fire. There'd be like 40 shots, hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s, and anything that's a 6 is it's an AP 2. So if it's just like culling, like if there's no Terminators or Dreadnoughts to fire your Brutal 2 shit into, then you can just like rock that into some tac squads or something like that.
Yeah, if you have 10 40 shots, it's quite insane.
Yeah.
You have to select either or.
Yeah.
You can't, sort of like decide to shoot.
Oh yeah, 5 of this and 5 of that. Yeah, right.
Yeah. But I guess if you decide to shoot the plasma missile, you're probably really targeting like either a dreadnought or Leviathan or vehicle.
Yeah.
And splinter missile is pretty good to get rid of large squads of troops or heavy supports or whatnot that you can reach at 36.
Exactly.
And then the Peritarch targeter. So basically, if you stay still, you gains guided fire and night vision as well.
Yeah, so that's fucking amazing. Guided fire is you just basically ignore line of sight, so you can fire over the top of shit, you can fire through walls, blah blah blah. And then night vision is amazing as well. It totally ignores all of night fighting. So no penalty to range, no leadership penalty, no BS penalty, and then also you can't evade against it as well. So if you're shooting someone who's out of their range to shoot back at you, for example, if you're firing the splinter missiles at 36-inch range, if they can't return fire because they're out of range, normally the next best thing to do would be to evade. However, because you've got night fighting, they can't evade against you, so they just have to sit there and take it, which is pretty powerful in the return fire meta, especially early in the game, which is when night fighting is going to be happening. So it's perfect. And then, just being able to shoot shit from out of line of sight is fucking crazy. I played a game against Cam, and my graviton pistol Moritat ran up to his he had a punish, like a what's it called, 6-round Punisher, and just fucking vaporized it with graviton. And then I was hiding behind like a portal or like a piece of terrain essentially, and he was just like, "Oh, that fucking Moritat!" So he fired. He had no line of sight, but because they were in range, he was able to fire like 5 of those Hellfire plasma missiles just over the top of it, just come down, rain down on my dude.
And do you snap fire, or do you shoot that full ballistic skill?
Yeah, full ballistic skill. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Guided shots really good. The Divinator Psyker has a guided shot, strength 6 AP2 guided shot that you can do. So you're hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, and you can do it from out of line of sight, which is kind of cool. Just take that last wound off like an already wounded guy, or like kill a apothecary or something like that. It's kind of cool. Yeah,
and especially I play a lot of Zone Mortalis, and I always there's always that situation where you try to hire like the rest of the unit or your warlord.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool.
They're
quite expensive. They're quite expensive, but they are really.
The full Montaris. Yeah, exactly.
Very, and you don't really need to have 5. There's no model for it, so you have to kit bash and find a way to creating that missile sort of part on top of them. I think that's where 3D printing comes handy.
It's almost 600 points. What is it? It's 275 plus 290. So yeah, you're only like 35 points off 600 points if you take the full fire.
Yes, yeah.
Or full 10. Sorry.
I've never run 10 because I feel like it's quite rude. But
have they got power axes or something, or have they got power fists?
They come with power weapons.
What have you given them though? Did you have power fists from last edition?
I've modeled them with power fist, but I think they've never made it to close combat because their shooting is what they are strong at.
Yeah. Someone's usually going to just destroy them at range just because they're too fucking disgusting. Yeah.
That's right. You don't want to send them. Into close combat because that's not what they're good at.
Yeah, and they've got their firing protocols too. So as well as that, they're also going to rapid fire their combi bolters into as well. So things that if you can get a character in there with an augury scanner somehow, such as like a Master of Signals, although the Master of Signals isn't going to help them with their BS because they're already BS 5.
They're 5 already.
Yes, and then you can get night vision anyway, so it's not going to matter there. But if you put a somebody getting an augury scanner in that, maybe a Legion, a Mistos or something like that, maybe they come with an augury scanner. In any case, that would just make you so fucking. It'd be really great unit for sort of basically defending your deployment zone, because they're going to get to like shoot into anything that like deep strikes down, like intercept basically, and then if something does try to charge them, it can just overwatch them. If something tries to shoot them from close range, and just fucking return fire. It's like a totally savage unit.
This is savage unit.
If you've got your warlord in there as well, remember, like from that warlord trait, he gets an.
Yeah.
If he could be giving them a free reaction every turn as you move up the field, just shooting the shit into everything. Like no one can shoot you because you just return fire with overwhelming force. Like pretty good. Pretty good.
I think one of the best units. But I suspect they're going to be nerfed down. I feel like.
You reckon? Yeah, I think the Panopticon fan-made rules, I'm pretty sure they nerfed it so that instead of being just straight up AP2, because it says plasma missile, they've just changed it to breaching 4+, so that's a bit of a nerf there. And I think they nerfed it down to strength 7 as well, and then gave it, essentially it's like being hit with plasma gun.
Just not as good, because now that plasma missile really sort of it can get rid of like heavy armor.
Yeah, that strength 8 AP2 is just so demolishing. Like anything outside of Iron Hands or something with battle hardened 1, anything other than those guys is just going to get totally rocked. Like imagine just shooting Gestarin with that, you just clean them up. Like half of them are just dead. Half of your hits are just going to demolish a dude.
Is there a rule that limit the number of shots? That you can only shoot, special ammunition a couple of times. I think if I was to nerf them down, that's probably what I would say.
Like once per game, they can use Hellfire missiles.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they really unleashed Ed once, and then the rest is still pretty good as well.
You could give them the single shot rule. You could give the Hellfire plasma missiles a single shot rule. I guess, if you want.
I mean, I'm not complaining. I'll play them to their full.
Well, hey, I've got all the bits to make these guys. I just need some. And if I got some more plastic cataphracti, I've already started building my last 10 into Iron Hands guys. But I am considering doing like an Ultramarines army at some point. And yeah, I would definitely go full 10-man, full Mentaurus. It's like super expensive, but it's just such a fucking awesome squad.
And I've seen some really cool, like, of course, I get a lot of inspiration from Instagram, as I'm sure everybody does, but even using some of these, I've seen one guy using the Blood Angel Terminators to make them, and it works really well as well. Like they get that robe as well, so you can keep that sort of Ultramarine sort of heavy on the gold aesthetic. Awesome unit. Awesome unit.
Yeah, fucking tough boys. Okay, let's keep moving. Next up is the Lokitara Storm Squad. So I played against these a few times back in first edition, and they were really good. And not many people ever took them, but the times that I fought against them with Mechanicum, especially, they just fucking shat on me. So these guys are 150 points for 5. They're a veteran stat, so weapon skill 5, 2 wounds, 2 attacks, 8/9 for the leadership. They've got an Argean power sword, a jump pack, an artificer armor, and a bolt pistol for a crack. So far we've got it's an artificer veteran with an exotic sword and a jump pack. 150 points for first 5, so that's about 30 points each. 25 points for additional 5. Okay, sounding pretty good. The Argean Power Sword is a power sword, except it also has, so it's strength as user, AP3, melee, rending 5+ instead of only rending 6+, and Duelist Edge 1. So that's pretty good for the Sergeant, Duelist Edge 1, +1 initiative and duels. The Lokitaris are infantry, and the strike leader is infantry character. They have the blade. Oh, they're all chosen warriors. Oh, well, there you go. So they're all chosen warriors, so they can all do duels, and they all have +1 initiative on their duels. So that's pretty good. With their rending 5+ sword. And then the Blade of Wisdom, which is when rolling to hit for a model with a special rule as part of an attack with a weapon that has melee attack type on any turn in which they are part of a successful charge against an enemy unit. Add +1 to the result of the roll if the enemy unit targeted by the attack has already been the target of another friendly unit composed entirely of models with Legion, Astartes, Ultramarines, special rule in the preceding shooting phase.
I feel like that would be hard to stack, but
so someone else has to shoot them, and then you have to charge them.
That's right. Yeah,
but you'll get +1. Wait, +1.
+1 to the result to roll.
When rolling
To
to hit, so +1 to hit. So you'd be
Yes.
weapon skill 5 against weapon skill 4 guys. You'd be hitting on 2s instead of 3s. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then you'd be rending on a 5+. Any of your challenging guys are duelist edge, and then you've got base AP3. So that's like not fucking bad on a jump pack unit that's wanting to get into close combat and all have artificer armor.
Yeah, no, very cool, very cool. I think a third close combat unit that would just be used in a different setting.
Yeah.
And then they can also change their RGN power sword for power axe for free as well. I don't know why you would do that, but you can do it. Lightning claw, legatine axe. You can throw some. Oh no, that's on the sergeant. Sorry. Strike leader makes change power sword for. Legatine axe, power fist, thunder hammer. So you can also kit your sergeant as well, and they can take melted bombs.
Yeah.
And combat shields as well for an extra 5 points.
Yeah, not bad. I think like just the amount of rending 5+ you're gonna do, you don't really need it. Like, because you can like if you needed to, you could charge a dreadnought, and you got a good chance of just fucking it up. Because they've got like 4 attacks base, hitting on 4s. If you've shotted it with another unit, they're hitting on 3s against a dreadnought, and then rends on a 5+. Like, that's savage.
Yeah, I would use my melter bombs if I was attacking a dreadnought.
Oh, yeah, but only the sergeant can take melter bombs, right? Yeah, only the sergeant can get melter bombs.
Yes, you're right. Strike leader. Sorry, my bad.
So,
yes.
I don't know. Like that's just a good all-round like fuck you unit. Having the jump pack, being able to just like deep strike and then assault anything in the back line, that's so tough. Like I've got a problem just with like 10-man assault squads with chainswords landing and stabbing my shit to death in my back line. If it's 10 or even just 6 or 7 of these dudes in an artificer, like holy shit.
Yeah.
I've seen people just go, okay, well these nearby 16 dudes are going to rapid fire into your artificer, and then just like them just doing no wounds,
Oof.
These guys already they got 2 wounds as well because they're vets. Just jump pack vets. Like, not everyone has jump pack vets. This is fucking like Ultramarines get jump pack vets. So there you go. Good old Ultramarines player.
Yeah, once more, no model for them, but I think once more, there's heaps of opportunity to, come up with models for them.
They definitely, they dropped some I think there was wasn't there like a helmet kit or something like that they said was for the Lokitaris? Was it like a Forge World kit back in the day or something? That's some resin conversion kit where it just came with heads and swords or something, maybe even? I don't remember.
Yes, it is a special set of torso and heads, and with that they have a crest as well. Let me see, what is it called? Yeah, definitely this upgrade kit, and I think once more, I've seen so many really good stuff 3D printed as well, like cool helmets and shields as well.
Some good Roman Legion themed ones out there at the moment.
Totally. Give me a sec. It's called that upgrade kit.
You're brutal.
Invictari heads and torso.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Weird.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it doesn't really matter. You can use for whatever. The cool helmets.
This is definitely one. If you're thinking of doing if you're thinking of doing these guys, wait for plastic jump troops. I'm sure at some point they're gonna do Mark 6 jump assault marines, right? They'll have to. I'm sure they will. I think they'll do Mark 2 as well. I'm hoping they do Mark 2, Mark 2, Mark 4, Mark 6, and jump. Hopefully. And then that's your chance to fucking make these guys with like plastic. And I think these guys are really good. Fast attack choice. They don't not line like the other guys that we talked about. The guys with shields, but these guys are like that. Warhawk jump pack is big move. Allows you to deep strike and just precision assault wherever you want, basically, which is extremely good, I think. You don't always have to just deep strike into the enemy and have everyone shooting you. People are like, oh yeah, but like ogre scanners, you just get shot off the table if you try and deep strike. I don't know. I haven't seen that happen. All I've seen is fucking deliverers just raining down in people's backlines and just punching the fuck out of everything. So
I have found it really difficult to deep strike so far.
yeah, you're getting shot off. Too many augury scanners.
Yeah, or
You don't have to
really
deep strike into the teeth of the enemy though. You can deep strike around
Yeah.
corners. You can use them to just precision drop stuff.
Yeah, I think if you only have one unit, it's usually it's not enough. You really need quite a few. So if you lose one in the process and it's being intercepted or shut down or whatnot, at least you still have. But yeah, I think in the previous edition I was like more able to deep strike one unit or a couple of units behind enemy lines, so closer to the enemy, and still survive. I think with the intercept rule and all the reaction, it's a lot harder. I found, but I'll definitely want to add some to my army and try them out. I think Michael John said they're very good.
Yeah,
we used to be.
Yeah, brutal fucking dudes. Alright, let's jump across to... Oh, no, that's Legacies. We'll jump across to Exemplary Battles in the Age of Darkness. This, and then on page 9 there, we've got the Nemesis Destroyers squad. Now, these dudes were... in the last edition were kind of cool. They had like a cool Nemesis bolter, which is now called a Mortifier bolter, because the Nemesis bolter is now like a 72-inch long-range mega sniper shot thing. So, okay, so it's 10 guys for 165 points. Pretty good. They are just normal TAC Marine stats. They have, however, the Stubborn rule, Counterattack 1, and Bit of Duty. So that makes them very interesting. Just having Stubborn out of nowhere, okay. So they're the basic Marines, but with Stubborn, Counterattack 1, and Bit of Duty. So Bit of Duty allows you to join units like, and like allows you to join a Moritat to that unit, for example. They come with a Mortifier bolter, a bolt pistol, chainsword, frag crack, rad, and power armor. So rad grenades, very good. I mean, these guys are in a... You can have up to an additional 10, so you can get up to 20 for 15 points each, which I think is a decent deal, just based off them having Stubborn and Counterattack and rad grenades, and a chainsword, coming pretty stacked.
Yes.
Mortifier bolter is a range 18, strength 4, AP 5, assault 2 Harrower bolter, and Harrower is any model from which a model... Sorry, unit from which a model is removed as a casualty during the shooting phase as a result of an attack from a weapon must take a morale check as if they had suffered 25% casualties. So you always have to take a morale check, essentially.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I
that's pretty
think what's
decent.
good with that unit is that they can have up to 20.
Yeah. And it's assault 2 as well. That's like range 18. That's better than a combat shotgun because it's like 6 inches extra on top of a combat shotty.
Yeah.
And has a harrower rule, and then you can charge in. I mean, you're not getting the whatever not shell shock. What's the shotgun's got concussive, but that harrower rule is really good. That means that like even if you're down to just like a few guys, you've just got a good chance of just forcing a morale check on the enemy. Especially imagine in late game, you got 5 guys, you shoot 1 wound off like a semi-intact squad, and then suddenly they break. Like, it's pretty classic.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool as well. Like they don't get to take jump packs. So I feel like you get over it.
They've got a huge amount of shit they can take, so they can take all the Nuncio Vox Vexilla. They can't take an augury scanner, it looks like. Yep, no augury scanner. However, 1 in 5 can take a missile launcher with rad missiles, and a suspensor web, a heavy bolter with suspensor web, charger, flamer, plasma, graviton gun, las cutter, and then the sergeant has like a whole bunch of different, like the usual options for an assaulty sort of boy, like lightning core, thunderhammer, phosphex bomb, that sort of shit. Probably worth taking those rad missile launchers for 10 points, right? Just put a whole bunch of rad on people. So
Totally. If you have 15 of them, you get 3 or up to 4 if you have a large squad of 20. Yeah, it's really good. That's what I've got on my unit. Missile launcher with sponsor web and rat missiles.
Yeah, just smash a bunch of flashbang into people.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then the rad grenades. And then, so then you can move up, shoot that, fire 2 shots from all of your boulders, shoot your rad missile launchers, because you've got suspensor web, and then assault. And then, because you only shot assault weapons or suspensor web, then you've got your 3 attacks on the charge with the chainsword as well, and rad grenades, so you're winning on 3s with shred. So, pretty fucking apeshit squad. It's an elite's choice. It doesn't have line, and it's got the bit of duty rule, which I think stops it from being line anyway. But they are stubborn, so, I mean, if you're wanting to run like a sort of destroyer themed company, I guess this adds another elite's choice you can run as sort of like part. You can run destroyers and these guys, and then you've got 2 sort of destroyer-y sort of choices, I guess. It'd be cool if you could take these guys as troops somehow. Like if you had a Moritat in the list, you could take them as like a compulsory troops choice or something like that. That'd be fucking cool. But
is there a route of is there a route of war you can actually take destroyers as troops?
No, not yet.
No. Okay. Yeah, very cool. Very cool unit.
Last edition, the Mournival had a rules for it though, which was cool and pretty widely adopted. A lot of people like those rules.
Yes.
Yeah, cool unit. It's just they're another elite's choice in a whole bunch of elite's choices, right? Because we've got the the Nemesis are elites, the Locutarus were troops, what were the Fulmentaris? Yeah, Fulmentaris were elites. The Suzerain were elites, and also the special Breacher team were elites as well. But the Breacher team, though, the thing that was very noteworthy about them was line. So, So I think that's like 5 separate units. All of them elites, except for one that's fast attack. So plenty of elites choices. Luckily, you have 4 elites choices. However, remember, elites choices is less dreadnoughts. So, and less rapiers and things like that. So, and less apothecaries and tech marines. So, you've got to think about that. I always looked at that and went, oh man, 4 elites choices, I'll never feel that. But like, I'm always just like, oh man, I want to take tech marines and apothecaries, and that's 2 elites choices just straight up. Now I can only take like rapiers and dreads. I can't take an elite. Yeah.
I think with their shields, like, you know, if two of that units have, you know, sort of a boarding shield, and the Suzerain get that. I feel like my choice would be to actually fill the slots with. Well, that's what I've been doing, try to fill the slot with these special units. A, because I think they look cool, and then B, because they're quite survivable. Maybe in the future I might have to think about trading off apothecaries, but I think so far I've enjoyed filling my elite choice spots with these special units, because they all really bring something specific.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they've all just like the key to undoing something. If you're in a Terminator heavy meta, Suzerain's pretty great. Just fucking get in there. Just do so many wounds at initiative that you're just like carving the fuck out of them, basically. And just reducing those incoming wounds, and then you're getting a full plus invuln against them anyway, so it's pretty good. Okay, cool. So that's special units. Let's go back and look at their special advanced reaction, and then we'll finish off by talking about their rights of war. Now, their advanced reaction. Okay, I'll just quickly summarize it. So it is like a massive fucking paragraph, but essentially, if somebody shoots at you, you can react. It's basically a return fire. Except you return fire with the unit that is being shot at, and then one other of your units, and one other unit composed entirely of models with the Legion Studies Ultramarine special rule, make a shooting attack targeting the unit that triggered this reaction. So one of your units and any other unit get to return fire. And you can only use Wall of Death if you're within 8 inches. and both units that make that shooting attack count as having made that reaction, so neither of them can do a further shooting reaction, for example.
Yeah, but they all have to have line of sight on that first unit.
Yes, correct.
Yes, yeah. So basically, you shoot back twice at one unit that's been trying to shoot at you, or with two different units.
Yeah. So if you think about that, how that works, so it's you shoot at my unit, and then two of my units are shooting back. The whole time we've been talking about the Ultramarine special rule, we've been talking about pairs of units, so one unit shoots and then the other one shoots. This kind of like it builds into that as well, because you've got those two units hopefully working as a team there. Both of them then get to shoot back. It also says the strength of wisdom is +1 to the result of the roll if the enemy unit targeted by the attack has already been the target of another friendly unit composed entirely of models with this special rule in the same shooting phase. So if it's the enemy shooting phase, you would get to still use this rule as long as you've kept shooting in your normal order. So like your targeting unit and then your main unit of just like 20 dudes or whatever. So
there's a big chance that reacting unit could hit on two.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. That you really need to make sure that you think about that. There's definitely like a level of strategy to that, and playing that to the max. If you have two, like if somebody's shooting you with a long range weapon, and even like if your unit is then able to return fire, there might not be another unit nearby or in range that can help it. So you want to have maybe like pairs of consummately ranged weapons is what I'm trying to say. So like a couple of heavy weapons teams working together maybe, or a sniper team and a heavy weapon team, so that both of them can fire and return fire. And then when they're using this special rite of war, you get that way you're just getting the maximum out of it. Like having a dreadnought parked with like, a dreadnought with some, las cannons. Yeah, dual gravis las cannons. So that's 4 las cannon shots next to a heavy weapons team that might just be like culverins or whatever. It just means that like you can use them to target for each other. Cover the entire battlefield with some. If someone targets your culverins, then you return fire with it. But first of all, you fire the las cannon squad, then you fire the culverin squad, and then the culverins are getting +1 to hit, and you've just burned some fucking las cannon holes in them as well. So very interesting. It's not like super fucking mega powerful. No. In some ways, I would prefer. So the Iron Hands special rite of war is you get to Overwatch, but everyone fires twice and gets hot. That's kind of cool. The Ultramarines one is it's pretty good as well, but it's way more situational. Like, sometimes like somebody will charge my general's unit, and I've only got like 2 plasma blasters in there and some combi bolters, but I just go fuck it, I'll just do it just because I'm getting some extra shots in, some extra plasma blasters, maybe like kill a few extra guys charging in. If I could shoot with that unit and then any other unit, like i.e. my culverin team as well, into that unit that's charging me or shooting at me or whatever, that would be fucking really good. Just having like a heavy weapons team there that can just like fucking intercede when you get shot at. It's kind of cool. So a lot of strategy there to think about, I think. And it's all about that deployment, and it's all about that movement phase and making sure you guys are grouped together. Make sure that you're just like considering which targets in which order you want to like shoot at, so you can make maximum use of that.
Which could be a bit of a risk, really, because you get all these units clustered together. In a way, they become quite vulnerable. But it's there's a lot of things to think about. If you've got your master signals and things like that, you can then be like pushing out like leadership buffs, which is kind of cool. Or the what's it called, the Damocles Command Rhino, same sort of thing. Okay, let's talk about the rites of war, and we'll finish off on the rites of war. Now, Ultramarines only have one rite of war. That's right.
However, it's an entire page of information. It's very complicated. Very, very complicated. So it's the Lugus Lectora. Previously, this one What did this one do in the last edition? This one just it gave you. Oh, it's the same sort of shit, wasn't it? You had the different things you had to do.
I don't know. I didn't play in the previous edition.
Oh,
so,
okay, true. Yeah,
so
okay.
yeah. So effectively, at the beginning of your turn, you have to declare which command you do.
Yeah.
So you have 4 of them. You can either go full march. In that case, you increase your movement characteristic by 2, but then you reduce your BS and weapon skill by 1.
Yeah.
So if you want to, full march, like go real fast on turn 1, hold fast, then you increase your leadership by 1, and you can reroll all fails to hit during the shooting attack.
Yeah.
But you can't make a run, or you can't move. So basically, holding fast is holding the lines. Retribution strike. Then in that case, you increase your weapon skill by 1, and you get an additional bonus of 1 for any charge roll. So if you're going to, but you're reducing your ballistic skill.
Yeah.
So boof up, and then regroup. So special units may reroll fair leadership test made to regroup while falling back, and any fair reserve rolls.
Yeah. So you have to use one of these, right?
No, you don't have to. You must declare at the beginning of the turn.
Or you may select one, but you can't select it more than once in a row.
That as well. So you go. I feel like the hold fast is awesome. Well, in that case, nobody can move. But you can't have them twice in a row. You have to declare it at the beginning of your turn. So I'm going to do this, and my entire army is going to be doing full march, let's say. But then if you decide not to do it, not to choose one of them, that works as well. But you just need to state that at the beginning of your turn.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Having a Delegatus in there as well could stack with a lot of that stuff, like getting to reroll, falling back. Although Delegatus just allows you to auto pass and become unpinned and shit, doesn't it? The Delegatus. So I don't know. Yeah. It's interesting. Some of them are have a big downside, like the full march. I can't imagine when the fuck you would ever use that, because you're almost always gonna want to shoot.
Maybe not on first turn. Maybe not on turn 1.
But it's only plus 2 inches. You only get 2-inch move, I guess.
Yeah. It's not great, but it's
It's only infantry as well. The vehicles don't get the plus 2 move, so.
Totally. Yeah. And in terms of limitation, you need to have a Master of Signal or a Damocles, a Command Rhino, and you need to take an extra troop choice as well. So potentially for a normal game, you need 3 troop choice.
3 attack squads or something. Yeah, it's interesting. Have you used this at all?
I have. I think once more, it's that one thing that you have to plan for and to think at the beginning of the term. Like, okay, cool. I mean, hold fast has got a lot of appeal, and retribution strike as well. Like, really sort of either buff your ballistic skill and rerolling all the ones to hit. Like, potentially could be so damaging. And then retribution strike, if you decide to go to close combat with one or more unit, I think then once more it really adds to your but you just have to think about it, and it comes with some I think it's good. There's only one, so basically there's no choice. It's good, but once more you have to plan, you have to think for it.
I think late in the game, when you're down to, there's always that point late in the game when you've got just 3 or 4 squads that are totally battered to the shit house. And that's when that retribution strike would come in pretty good, I reckon, because you're increasing your weapon skill and getting +1 to your charge roll. You're reducing your BS, but who cares by that point? You just want to get your, last remaining suzerains into combat. Suddenly they go up to weapon skill 6, and then you're hitting the enemy Praetor who's left alone, or Maragal or something like that. You're hitting them on 4s instead of 5s. And it's everything in the army too, in those last phases when you charge, throw in those, send in the reserves, tactical marines or whatever, they're getting +1 weapon skills and then becoming weapon skill 5 in the charge. You can only do it for one turn, obviously then you have to choose something else, but that retribution strike could be really good. It's just that ballistic skill is going to take a hit, but remember, there's also other ways of increasing your ballistic skill. So, for example, doing a retribution strike, using a master signals cognisignum, so you're going back to hitting on 3s anyway, or back to hitting on 2s anyway. Especially with the +1 to hit, a cognisignum and the +1 to hit would take a ballistic skill 4 unit who's doing retribution strike. You'd be able to shoot and then charge, and then for max effect, and then gain the +1 weapon skill and the +1 to charge roll. Oh yeah, you could do that on Terminators, right?
No, it's pretty good. But even hold fast, like if you've been you play against like a deep strike assault army, declare hold fast because you're going to be charged. This is could really help as well. Increasing their leadership and may reroll all fails to hit during a shooting attack.
That's really something you got to have written out. Like, I feel like you have to have this, like make a photocopy of the Logos Lectora commands and then just have that on the table so you remember to do it.
Yes.
It's the same thing with
reactions.
Until I had that reaction, those reactions on that summary card that comes with the black rulebook. When I had those in front of me, and I played a couple of games just like looking at that, then I was able to commit it to memory and be able to remember all these things. But those like Taurus commands, the fact that you don't have to do them, you can do them. You want to make the most use out of them, but you've got to change them up every turn. It's kind of like interesting. So it's you want to have that in front of you, basically, I think.
Yeah, agreed. Yes, because I've played a few times now. I guess in a way I kind of like, but you're right. It really helps to have it in front of you. So cool. Quite so, against once more, it's not like a given. You have to plan for it. But I think overall it's with the flavor of the Ultramarines. You just have to plan.
100%. Yeah. I'm just looking. Just want to look at some of the consoles because I know, like with the Ultramarines army, because you want to have like tons of units. These like definitely if we're talking about like an infantry heavy army, there's a couple of consoles you want to look at. Number one is the where is he? Master Signal. So he's got that strategic comms rule. So once per turn, when any friendly unit is called upon to take a morale check or a pitting check may be made using the leadership characteristic of the model with this special rule or any other model in the same unit as the model with this special rule. So if you've got him in with like your Praetor, you can bust out leadership 10 to a roll, to a unit that needs to take a morale check. It's also pinning as well, which can be really helpful. And then the other one is the Legion Delegatus, who has that Rally the Legion. So once per battle at the start of any of the controlling player's turns, this rule can be activated. Once activated, take a leadership test for this model. If passed, then all friendly units that are pinned or falling back and have at least one model that can draw line of sight to the model with the special rule immediately rally and are no longer pinned or falling back and may act as normal that turn. So that's fucking huge. There's been a couple of times where I've had so much of my shit pinned. If I'd had a Delegatus, holy shit, I could have just totally unfucked it. Especially with like against Night Lords, when they've got the fear, they've got the night fighting, pushing down these leadership bonus penalties, and then they deep strike in, and you've got to take those pinning checks and neg 2 leadership near them because of the fear and the night. Holy shit, that can be like super fucking annoying. If you don't have stubborn, you're basically at their mercy. If I'd had a Delegatus at that point, like I literally had a game where Night Lord, all of my shit was pinned, my Seekers, everything. And just had to basically just take it from these Night Lord motherfuckers. So if otherwise I could have just started my turn and gone, oh, my Delegatus here is getting everyone up. As long as I pass the leadership 9 check, boom, done. So that's definitely something to think about with Ultramarines. I feel like just because you're gonna want to like have those paired groups that are like helping each other to shoot, but you can maximize that by having like groups of 3, because then like at least one of those unit in those groups of 3, if one of them hits, then the other 2 units get to reroll the hits against the same target. So you can like expand out your like giant just fucking group of death dealing dudes
Yes, I really think Delegatus is a good trade-off to a Praetor.
The Delegators.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
I feel like I take Delegatus more often than what I take a Praetor. A, because it's cheaper, because of Rally the Legion as well. So yeah, definitely one of the best console you add to an Ultramarine army, I think.
Yeah. Delegatus, you've got for the Logos Lectora, you've got to take a comms guy. But a Delegatus guy who's using Master Religion to give them that. And then you've got a comms guy. I mean, you don't need to have like a super ass-kicking character. You can just have a normal character who, like this Delegatus, who's giving bonuses to the army rather than just like running in and like taking heads. Because the Ultramarines have a bunch of units that can do that, like such as suzerains. You can just have suzerains.
I was going to say, if you have a suzerain squad, basically your Delegatus or your Praetor don't really need to do much work. Yeah.
And then you can just use your squads, your tanks, and your dreadnoughts to just shoot the shit out of the enemy. And then anything that does try to come near you, then you just intercept them with suzerains. That's like the ideal situation. And that's that's like preferred style of a bunch of players, I feel like. And especially Death Guard players like to do it like that. Just shoot the fuck out of you and then have this like sledgehammer unit that just intercepts anything that tries to interfere with them. But yeah, no, interesting rules. Feel like we've covered like
we have
everything.
Yes, we have. I think the bulk was the units. I think they're pretty thin when it comes down to Rite of Wars. Cool.
Well, to finish off, do you want to tell us about what's the standard games that you're playing? Is it 2500 or 3K or what's the?
I feel like the most of the games that I play are 1500, so Mortalis. I think on.
Oh really?
Yeah, because we have that small. So my gaming club, that they have like a good Zone Mortalis terrain set, and I think that's the bulk of my games are ZM games. So yeah, 1500 points.
What's in your tell us what's in your 1500 points then.
Yeah, so 1500 points. Let me quickly check.
He's bringing up his list. I'm sure he's going to say he's got lots of psychers.
No, I don't.
Also terrorist.
So first, ZM list. So Chaplain and a Delegatus as HQs. Nemesis Destroyers, 15 dudes, some Praetorian Breaches, and then I can use with my Delegatus, I can add the Suzerain as Ritune. And then Veteran Squad, so running with that Pride of the Legion, maybe not 10. 10 Veteran. I think that's my recent.
Oh, so it's a Pride of the Legion using the vets as troops. Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Like in Zone Mortalis, man, veterans, holy shit. I was running them with my Sons of Horus, and they're just so versatile. You can equip them with all kinds of different fucking savage shit. Relentless, extremely good in close combat because of the weapon skill 5 and the 2 wounds and the 2 attacks. It sounds like fucking savage. That's a crazy force.
It's a cool force.
How do you deal with dreadnoughts though? What happens if a contemptor comes?
Well, I haven't painted one yet, so basically now.
No, but what if the enemy has one? What if the enemy has a contemptor?
Well, I'm using my Suzerain. Suzerain will just.
Suzerain? Oh, because of the Thunderhammers. Yeah, right.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. They'll get rid of anything really. And I probably put a melt bomb on my Centurion, so it does the job. I'm not worried about that. And then all these Praetorians and the Suzerain have line as well, so I have 3 scoring units in that list. So that would be what I would play. So I've been tinkering around, like playing. I feel like that Rite of War doesn't really work too much for Zone Mortalis. It's probably a bit too heavy-handed. then that master signal doesn't really work out. It doesn't really add much value on in the ZM settings.
Yeah.
But that's usually the most of what I play as games.
You might need him though if people start like teleporting Terminators and that sort of thing.
Maybe, yes.
That teleport disruption seems like it'd be pretty good in Zone Mortalis.
Yes.
Especially with how like pinpoint people can be with Terminators now. Maybe via like and almost anyone can take them via a Warmonger as well.
Yes.
But yeah. I guess so. That's it. That Logos Lectora. The only limitations are you have to take either a Monster Signals or a Command Rhino,
and an extra troop choice.
Oh, an extra troop choice.
So I think in Zone Mortalis, then you'll have to have 2 troop choices.
But so you would need actual troops. Troop troops. Yeah. But I mean, Breacher, 10-man Breacher squad, a couple of 10-man Breacher squads.
Yes, I guess, but I think these Praetorian Breaches are pretty. I think again, that's what I've painted recently. So I usually try to play with what I've painted.
Yeah, you want to stay with Pride of the Legion, I think.
Yeah.
I think Pride of the Legion works so well in Zone Mortalis, like because you only need to take 1 veteran squad. It's playing low points anyway. Like I could take my Iron Father and 10-man Terminator squad, and then just a second 10-man Terminator squad, and and then I could take a Dreadnought, and that's 1,500 points basically there. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah. Actually, I think I can take 2 Dreadnoughts, Iron Father, and 2 10-man squads, and that's 1,500.
Well, I guess we'll have. What's the event? You coming to that event in Sydney in January?
Famine in January. Yep. I'll be there, man.
Awesome. So I guess we'll have to eventually fight it off.
Yeah. I'll take you on.
Unless we're in the same team.
Oh, we probably will be. I'm pretty loyalist. Hopefully, I'm not forced to play as a dirty traitor. But you could be a traitor Ultramarine guy, and then have that like toughness 10 for 1 turn. Ooh. Oh no, it's only Delegatus. You'd only be toughness 9 for 1 turn.
Well, I think if I have to be a trader, I'll play either my Wood Bearers or.
Okay.
I have different hands for.
Oh, you got Word Bearer. So, what's the most Gal Vorbeck you've seen in Zone Mortalis? Like in one set?
I've played a game the other day, and again, I was listening to the episode with the meta, and what did I try? I tried to. What's that Rite of War that allows you to take Gal Vorbeck as?
Serrated Sun. Yeah, Last of the Serrated Sun.
No, my bad. All right, let me just quickly check my list. I've used the Dark Breathen, and then I had 2 squads of Gal Vorbeck as elite, and just then I had like a normal attack and Breacher squad. But I really paid attention to try to destroy that unit and then getting that buff to their toughness and strength and movement. So I ended up having 2 squads of Gal Vorbeck, which were like completely off the charts. And I was fighting against Custodes. So there was a pretty. My opponent was a bit disappointed.
Yeah, they're Custodes.
Yeah.
Wait, so was it 2 squads of 5? Was it? Gal Vorbeck?
2 squads of 6.
Oh, 2 squads of 6. Yeah, that's savage.
Yes. But I managed to add like 3 markers that give them, through that Rite of War.
Oh yeah, so there'd be like weapon skill 8 or something with 3 markers, and then movement 9. Oh no, wait, no, they start at movement. Aren't they movement 8 to begin with?
8.
Holy fuck!
Yeah.
So they'd be movement 11.
Yes.
And is it an extra attack as well? Is it weapon skill, attack, and movement?
What does it do? So +1 to their toughness, +1 to their strength, and to their weapon skill. I believe.
Weapon skill strength.
It was very cool. Really. Well, I think that really it met the Custode to their strength, which was close combat.
Yeah.
I don't know what would have happened if I had played my Ultramarine list. I think the Suzerain would have probably gone through 1 unit or maybe 2, but it wouldn't have dealt with the Custode too.
Yeah, I guess you do have that 4+ save. They're still hitting. They're going first. They're hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, with most of their shit. Oh, wounding on 2s with their spears, I guess. And then you're getting a 4+ Istvaan, and then you're hitting back on 4. Oh no, they're weapon skill 5, aren't they? Your weapon skill 5. So you'd be getting hit. You'd be hitting on 4s, wounding on 5s, and they're only getting a 6+ Istvaan, and they've only got 2 wounds each as well. So I mean, as long as you can survive like enough with your 4+ Istvaan, because of that. I mean, if you've got that. If you've if you've got the chaplain in there giving them hatred, like you're gonna smash the shit out of them, eh?
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Just depends if they've also got a shield cap in there somewhere as well, because he can just go totally out of control with like 1 million attacks.
Yes, I think is it.
Or like murder strike 4+.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't be instant killing it if you had an apothecary in that unit. So you're getting a 4+ followed by a 5+. You could probably just push back on custodes, actually. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But hopefully you should never have to fight. That's the thing.
Hopefully not.
Unless those damn custodes go traitor against the Emperor.
I was wondering, like, would they... No, I don't think this would happen. Would you have traitor custodes? But probably not.
No, I don't think so. Well, yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. I think it also says in the rules like they can just never be traitor.
Well, that's sorted.
They can't ally with them either. Yeah, but yeah, there are a few sort of weird matchups that we've been playing, especially in the early meta where people aren't sort of like super worried about like the narrative side of things. We're just trying to like get as many games in as possible and try everything out, I guess. So we've definitely had some crazy matchups. Like I've played against Custodes, Randy's Custodes, and a couple of times with my Loyalist Iron Hands, which has been interesting. And Liam's got Loyalist Iron Warriors, and he's been playing all sorts of games against Loyalist factions as well, against Randy's Space Wolves and things like that. So, yeah, I do want to play against... I played against some Imperial Fierce now, but I want to get some games in against like Blood Angels and Ultramarines.
I have not played against Blood Angel, I think. Well, of course that wouldn't make... Yeah, no.
Yeah, once you get to like an actual event, or once you get to like a campaign, you're playing in a campaign, you don't get those sort of games like coming up that often anymore, unless you like when I was playing Mechanicum, at least I could sort of like be on either side theoretically. But when I'm playing like Loyalist Iron Hands, like it's unlikely I get to play against like.
So do you enjoy Mechanicum with the latest edition?
No, I just can't do it. I can't do it, man.
Oh, why is that?
They just... Well, no, I've got like 4 separate armies, and each one isn't based... Like, I could... So I've got 4 separate Mechanicum armies, and each one's themed around like a certain sort of like part, like branch of the Mechanicum from the fluff.
Right. Yeah.
And although they're like in the last rules, because everything Mechanicum was relatively good, it was kind of alright, but using the new rules, like just giant chunks, like one of my army, like my Myrmidon army, would be pretty good, except I'd have to cherry pick. There's one really good sort of like mono list for Mechanicum that I've noticed, which is Myrmidons and some Automata.
Okay.
And I could run that, and I could run that relatively well, but that's only one of my 4 armies. Like, I can't run my Thrall army anymore. They're totally useless. It's not worth the effort of putting them on the table, because, like, I put like the transport down. If their transport explodes, like, so if I put 20 Thralls in a Triaros and it explodes, it does a strength 8 hit to them all. All they get is a 6+ armor save. They don't get a feel no pain. So out of 20, like 4 of them are actually going to make it out of that rack. Whereas previously they had a 4+, 5+ save against it, and it was only strength 4. So anyway, people didn't die as much, but yeah, it's just stuff like that across like all the Mechanicum. It's just made all of my armies sort of like kind of shitty. So I'm just like, nah, I'm playing Iron Hands anyway.
Okay. Yeah. I'm quite surprised. I thought they'd be releasing a Dark Mech book.
Yeah, that hasn't come out yet, but I think like there's campaign books coming maybe. I don't think we've got anything really solid, but I think most people are sort of saying that there's going to be kind of like how Necromunda does it, right? Where every quarter they bring out like some sort of campaign book.
Yes, yeah.
Because I mean, there has to be something coming out, like.
I think
unless they're going to
Demon's
drag out.
probably they're going to be the last thing they need to release.
Yeah,
Demon?
I wonder if that'll be a whole book, like a hardcover book or not.
Yes.
I just don't know. Yeah, like otherwise, what are they going to do? Because like they've got to keep bringing shit out, right? Like they have to bring more stuff. Like they just dumped like all the rules at one time, like all 18 legions worth of rules. They just dumped all at once, like boom, there it is. Okay, cool. And then they started selling all the tanks and shit. Like after they bring out the Custodes list and the Mechanicum list. They've got the demons list, but after that, like, then what happens? They've got to keep bringing shit out, right? They can't just start a new edition and be like, here's all 18 legions rules again, boom, like
the codex.
Yeah, there has to be something. So most people are saying it'd probably be Necromunda style, but I just don't think we've got.
Which is fun. I think that suit me. I think.
Yeah.
I'd be happy for material for narrative play.
Yeah, and there's enough stuff here to just go through for fucking ages too. Like I'm still building stuff. Like I'm only just about to run my double, my double Warmonger next weekend. Double Warmonger army where I teleport 20 Terminators into combat. I've still got I'm still looking at painting up a whole bunch of attack marines so I can start running shit that isn't Pride of the Legion, as well, like tanks and things like that. There's just so much to go through, man. Like I spent the first 8 years of the Heresy just playing just Mechanica.
Right.
And
wow.
And the Marines, there's just so much Marine stuff. So I don't know. I'm happy. I'm happy with how it's going. Like there's Titanicus. There's Epic 30K. There's Battlefleet Heresy. So there's tons of shit. Like
I love Titanicus. It really has been a revelation for me as well. We play that quite a bit here in Sydney, but even in my weekly gaming club, it's so good.
Yeah. Being able to combine those, all of those different just games into a big campaign.
Yes.
Using just like because a map based thing is just so easy. Just adjust some dice, adjust some points and victory points on that hex or that score, that area, that zone, that battle zone or whatever. Super easy to do. So. Yeah, I think the future has always been multi-scale gaming, I think. Because a lot of the time, a lot of the same players that Titanicus players are also 30k players.
Yes,
so if you can get people used to playing like a game of 30k followed by a game of Titanicus, then yeah, boom, that's a fucking good weekend, man. It's been played 2 different systems, have a chat about each one. That's pretty good. Okay, well, Ultramarines. Overall, where do you rate them? Do you rate them as pretty good, pretty shit? What do you reckon?
No, I love them. I must say, I've really enjoyed playing that army since when I first start playing Heresy. I start with Emperor Children, and I'm like, what have I done? It's unusual. I mean, I'm more experienced, I guess, now, but I feel like it's working quite well. I think as we went through, there's enough specific unit to build an army in a way of a play style you like. I guess that's a bit of a statement for all Legion, I guess, but no, I think I've had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun playing with them so far, and painting as well. I think that's really an important thing as well for me, is the painting aspect.
Definitely comes down to the interpretation of what you think your Ultramarines want to be. There's and the Ultramarines have like a full gamut of like from like fully organized sort of like pacing along Roman Legion style shit to just those dudes on Calth fighting underground wars, just like
destroyers,
brutal crazy fucking shit. They've got it all, and then just extreme shooting. The dreadnoughts are pretty decent, like they're pretty good. Like a Fear of the Ancients list with Ultramarines at night, you're going to ignore that like +1 to hit as long as you're using like those using the Legion rule. So the using that what's it called, Strength of Wisdom.
Yes.
to pair up. You can just like cancel a lot of that ballistic skill negative from Rite of War. So even Fury of the Ancients gets like a little buff there as well. So yeah, it's pretty good. I like it, man.
Yeah.
I think they're right up there. I don't think they're on tier with Imperial Fist. I think Imperial Fist is definitely like the easy mode Legion at the moment.
Yes.
I think maybe they could be on par with Iron Warriors. I think Iron Warriors are also really, really good at just that against Dreadnoughts, Automata, and Vehicles. They just have that huge edge over them. And I feel like Ultramarines are on a high tier mainly because of that just huge buff across all of their shit. And then their special units as well, and every single one of their special units is really good. Like none of them have none of them have shit rules.
No.
And they're all like very well priced, I would say, competitively priced.
No, very, very cool. A very cool Legion, but you do got to work at it. You have to have a think about it as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
As you say, it's not like an auto win. But in a way, that's why I quite enjoy the sort of strategic and really to think about. Cool. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, if you want an auto win, you got to paint your guys yellow and not blue. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, or Space Wolves grey or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Ooh,
yeah.
Angering all the Space Wolves players. All right, cool. Okay, see you guys. Thanks so much for coming on, Paul. Awesome to have you on.
Pleasure.
Awesome to get you on the show. And you can follow Paul. He's Paul_30k on Instagram.
Awesome.
Go at him and then force him to produce more content.
Cool,
Awesome.
man.
Thanks, dude.
Well, thanks for having me, and I'll see you in January.
Yeah, I'll see you down there. Yep, see you in January. All right, thanks, guys.
Cool.
Fully Painted is for closers.